Hello everyone, I'm Chelsea Harris and I'm the founder of this beautiful company, Inspired Mama. And I'm also mother to 4 energetic little boys. Now, as a businesswoman and a mum, I fully understand firsthand the challenges of trying to balance a successful career and your family life while trying to maintain our health and well-being amongst all of it. Now, my journey as a health coach actually began over a decade ago, where prior to being a health coach, I was working in public education as a social worker. And here I worked really closely with struggling families. This experience, coupled with my own motherhood journey, led me to create the company Inspired Mama. As a result, I retrained as a health and mindset coach. I became a personal trainer, and I'm also a nutrition coach. This allows me to provide comprehensive support for working mothers. For the past 6 years, I've been consulting, coaching, and training women worldwide, offering streamlined healthline solutions and personal development courses. And our programs address the core challenges that modern women face, which is a lack of time, stress management, and just the struggle to maintain consistent health habits when life has all those ups and downs. So today I'm really excited to talk about a crucial topic for all of us who are striving to excel in both our professional and our personal lives, and this is managing the seasons of health. We're going to explore how to create sustainable, adaptable routines that you can withstand when you have those unpredictable demands thrown on you as a working mum. In this session, we're going to discuss the challenges of maintaining consistency with our health habits throughout the whole year. And we're going to identify some really unrealistic expectations that often lead to this all or nothing mindset that women struggle with. And I'm going to teach you how you can break free from this cycle. We're also going to dive into some real practical strategies for creating core habits that can weather the storms of those busy work periods, school holidays, sick kids, and all those other life events that often derail women's health goals. By the end of this training, you're going to have some actionable steps which can create a more flexible, compassionate approach to your health journey so that you can stay on track. So if you're ready to learn how to thrive in every season of health and 52 weeks of the year, let's dive in.
I'm going to be talking about managing the seasons of health. Now, I want to discuss the many challenges that we face when we're trying to manage our health, our career, our family demands, and we're trying to fit in our self-care. And the challenges that we face is that we're trying to be consistent with these habits 52 weeks of the year. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing what are realistic expectations for ourselves. How do we create this adaptable routine and deal with these unpredictable demands? How do we deal with that? And how do we break this really detrimental cycle that we can get stuck into where we have these unrealistic standards and these can lead to us feeling feelings of failure or leading us into really unhealthy habits because we feel like we're not meeting the mark. Why do it at all? It creates this all or nothing mindset. So we need to move from this place where we're really focused on perfection and we're in a mindset that's totally obsessed with implementing this consistently to just identifying, okay, what are our core habits? What keeps my head above water? And how can I just embrace this gradual change and build on this? So as mothers, every single day we have enough on our plate. So we need to be compassionate with ourselves so that we work to improve our health and change our routines for our family. This is a process that takes time. It doesn't just happen overnight. All right, so let's get into it. So what's the challenges that we face when we're trying to be consistent 52 weeks of the year or we're trying to create something that we can maintain long term? When we're trying to follow these unrealistic standards, which is what many of us have been conditioned to think is the norm when we've tried previous diets. The rules that we have are I must do 5 workouts a week, or I can only have 1 cheat meal a week, or I'm only ever allowed to snack on these types of foods, or I can't snack at all, or I must be living off 2 shakes a day. What are the many rules that you've tried to apply to yourself over the last 10 years when you've entered a diet? Because what unfortunately happens is we go through life, we do all these different diets and we pick up all these little rules from all these different programs that we've tried to get results, but then we try and implement them and we put all these restraints on ourselves. And what happens is we feel like we can't meet the mark on all of those things. But realistically, that approach was never sustainable anyway. So we have to be really aware of what is it that I expected of myself before and what is it about those expectations that puts me off this idea of leading a healthy lifestyle, because it makes me think that it's just so damn hard and I can't sustain it. So why would I start if I don't want to do that for the next 40 years? So challenge 2 is, love it, just put a little phone in there. You can see we fall back into unhealthy habits, right? This is what we fall back into. It's like these seasons that we move through. And when I talk about seasons, I'm talking about these challenging periods we go through as a mum over a year cycle. It's during school holidays. It's when the kids are sick. It's at social outings. It's when work is busy. It's when we're feeling fatigued. What do we go back to? Snacking on junk food, not meal planning, skipping the exercise because the routine's suddenly gone out the window. We're like eating the cereal. We're eating the comfort foods. We're finding the damn muesli bar. We don't even like the muesli bar, but you know what? We're going to eat the muesli bar because it's got chocolate chips in it. Yeah, girls, I've been there. We're like not getting to bed on time when we should have, and we're lacking sleep. The problem is this results in us having disheveled mornings where we're like sleeping in too late and then we're like running around like a mad woman and getting angry at our kids because heaven forbid, didn't you pack your bags last night? And then we go to social events, we've got all this all or nothing mindset because of these hard things that we've done in the past. And then we're overeating, we're consuming too much alcohol, we're just throwing in the towel. And we're basically approaching it with this all or nothing mentality. These seasons, the school holidays, the kids are sick, the social outings, when work is busy and when we're fatigued, it's not like we don't know that they're going to happen. We know that they're going to happen. We know that they're coming. We don't know when they're going to happen. School holidays, yes. Social outings, yes. When work is busy, fatigue, or the kids are sick, no, we don't know when they're going to hit. But we know that they're coming. So why is it that every time when they hit, we're so shocked and we fall off the wagon? Why is it? Because our expectations are so high about what we think we need to be doing in order to be leading a healthy lifestyle that it puts us off. And we think, I can't do that right now, so I'm not going to do anything at all. So these seasons lead to this lack of self-care. We're not exercising. We're definitely not meditating. You're definitely not journaling, so you haven't got time for that. You're staying up way too late because you want to grab me time before the kids go to bed. You want to grab me time after the kids go to bed, and you're not meal prepping. You don't think you have time for that. You don't think you have time to do a whole weekly shop, but you'll go to the shops every single day and try and work out what to eat. And you're overly restricting foods because you think, oh, I'll try and restrict it from Monday through to Wednesday, and then I'm going to binge eat on the weekend. No one plans the binge, but that's the way it rolls, right? You can relate with this. We've all been there, haven't we? So why is this a problem? This creates this all or nothing mentality. This is where we're struggling with this like on and off cycle, okay? We're setting super high expectations for ourselves. They're not sustainable in the long run. We adapt this all or nothing mentality instead of just expecting that these seasons are coming. What does it look like when I'm in that season? And then we start to say to ourselves, if I can't do it perfectly, I'm failing. What does that do to us? What does the I'm failing mentality do to us? It makes us feel burnt out. We feel useless. Our internal dialogue declines. Our output decreases. Our relationships worsen. Our stress increases. The mental load is higher. The way that we perceive ourselves and our ability to manage our health has a big impact on our self-esteem, a really big impact on our self-esteem. And so we've got to keep our expectations in check for every single part of the journey. And so if you've got a lot going on in your life, work is really hectic, the kids are sick, like you're being pulled from pillar to post, you're being expected more in different spaces, don't expect that you're going to be performing at that top peak all the time. It's just not possible. So what we're going to do today, later on in the presentation, we're going to spend some time working out, okay, what are the seasons of life that you struggle with? Where do you get derailed? And how can we make it that we have a plan for that? And I'll give you some solutions as to what we can do in the lead up to that. What can you do to build for that point? Because the problem is when the kids are sick or work is busy or you're fatigued, you can't expect yourself in that moment to make a better decision. If you're really tired, don't expect yourself to go, oh, I'm really craving the carrot and hummus today. Damn, that's going to hit the spot. So no love. You're craving the biscuits and the cake and you want to go through Macca's, all right? Like I'm not a Macca's girl and I don't drink Coke. People tell me that's what they're into, right? I'm not stupid. So that's what you're after. So you have to see these good habits when we're in a sound state of mind. So when those seasons hit and we feel like life is falling apart, we actually have processes which are in place and which are habitual, which we can fall back on. Okay, so how does setting unrealistic expectations or goals impact your steadiness of your output from one week to the next? How does your unrealistic goals impact your output from week to week? So this is what we need to do. We need to work out what is the ultimate plan. When we move through those seasons, how can we cope better? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to adjust our expectations. See how full that calendar is there? Your calendar cannot look like that when you're going through one of these seasons. Things have to be pulled out of it. We have to simplify. And in order to be able to do that, we need to focus on our core habits. Now, there's some core habits that I pretty much like from coaching women. I've worked out that most women need certain core habits, but some women lean on some habits for their mental stability more than others. Okay. And when you're going through a stressful time or you're sick, or work is really busy, or it's school holidays and you've had enough of children hanging off you, or you just feel like you're not getting enough downtime, whatever that season looks like, you have to think, okay, what are the things that mentally keep me afloat? What are the habits that when I do them, I actually just feel really great? What are the habits that I would like to stick at as my core habits 52 weeks a year? And if I chose those 1 or 2 or 3 habits and I was consistent with them, how good would my life be? How maintained would my mental state be? So we need to recognize that perfection is just not realistic. And when we're juggling many roles as a busy mum, something has to give. The problem is what happens most of the time is when women are juggling the home, their career, their family, then they're expected to do their health somewhere there. The home there's people relying on you. Your career, there's people relying on you. Your family, there's people relying on you. Do you know the one that's only relying on yourself? It's your health. And that's why that's the one that slips off the table. So we need to lower our expectations as to what our output is going to be when it comes to managing our health, and we'll be more consistent with those core habits. You have to think, okay, if I'm expecting so much of myself during this stressful period of time, and this is causing me way more stress than benefit, is this for my health? No, because health is mental and physical health. You've got to remember that, ladies. If you want to be a truly healthy person, you have to be mentally sane. You can be someone who goes crazy at the gym every day, works yourself to an absolute bone, eats like a total bird. You might look like a stick on Instagram, but I can tell you now, if you're not mentally sane, you're not going to enjoy the process. And the internal dialogue is going to be really negative, right? And that's why I had some women say to me, like, I wasn't happy when I was 90 kilos. I wasn't happy when I was 60 kilos. And so what was the problem? I couldn't manage my stress. I couldn't manage my mental state. I was so stuck in the dieting world that I couldn't let go of like the rat race of this is what it must look like from day to day. Otherwise I'm failing. And so you've got to develop this level of self-compassion and understand that progression happens over a period of time. So let's talk about those core habits. If you're going to have a flexible approach and you said, okay, I'm going to learn to modify my routines when my life circumstances are hectic and there's a lot going on, you probably need to identify 3 key non-negotiable habits that you're going to prioritize no matter what. Now, for most people, it's the habit of movement, the habit of meal planning, and the habit of stress management. So movement, meal planning, stress management. But let me make this very clear. When life is cooperating and I'm firing on all cylinders, my movement is a doesn't cost me that much, 90-minute HIIT session, 6 days a week. And I'm like jumping around, having a great time, taking pre-workout, living the dream. But then also when my life is hectic, like it has been this week, do you know what I've done this week? I've had a really hectic month. Do you know what I've done this week? I've done 1 workout at the gym. And I've done 1 20-minute, I think it was actually 18 minutes. It didn't really constitute 18 minutes of like sweaty, jump around, burn some energy. That's all I've done this whole week. And you know what? That's okay. But do you know how many meditations I've done? Done heaps of meditations. So I had some emotions to move through. And I've also made sure that my food was on track. Because that's the one thing that I know that if that declines, I just feel crappy within myself. My gut health is poor. So you've got to work out like, what is it that I need in this moment? Your movement can be adjusted. Go for the walk. Roll around the floor and call it yoga. I don't mind. I do love yoga, but I'm not a huge fan of it. My sister-in-law would kill me. But basically, do something in which you're moving your body. It reduces stress and you feel good as a result of it. Okay? That's what the outcome of movement is. If it's that you're walking laps at the park while your kids play and you just got fresh air like swirling around you, that's good if that's what you need. But sometimes you need to go for the run because you need to burn the energy. Or sometimes you're firing all cylinders and you're ready to do the workout, and that's great, but it needs to adjust. The next thing is the meal planning. This is quite important too because women can overwhelm themselves with the meal planning. So basically, what happens with the meal planning is that women expect that every week they must plan this many meals from the Inspire Mama app. They must cook this many new meals and they must be adding a huge variety to their diet all the time. And when you're tired or you're fatigued or the kids are sick or you haven't had a lot of sleep or work is really busy, it doesn't need to look like that. You can actually say is, you know what, I'm going to go for the easy options that I get for pull out of the pantry and that I'll make throw to lunch options. They're awesome. And for my dinners, I'm going to get something out of the freezer stock. I'm going to pull from that this week. And that's also okay. Or you might get a roast chook and you might cut a couple of salad bags and you might throw something together like that. It doesn't have to be complex. The point is that you've got a plan as to what you're going to eat that week. You're not going to shops every day because you're not going to have the mental willpower to give up on the temptations because you're tired or you're run down or you're sick. And so you've got healthy food and you've got healthy options that you can turn to. And then the final one is working out what stress management techniques do I need to implement so I can consistently keep my mental space afloat. Now, for me, that is the journaling and it is the meditation is a massive one that I've learned to help move through hard emotions, which for me has just been, it's been a real life changer, but everyone's different. And there might be other things that you do that to de-stress, but work out what it is that I do that makes me feel good and calm in my body and make that your non-negotiables. But you've got to make it part of your weekly practice now so that when you're stressed, you still implement it. Okay. The other thing that I find is that when women are really busy managing the family home, their work, the kids' needs, they're feeling under the pump and their health is going to be slid off the table, they think that self-care is a privilege. Doing anything for themselves is a privilege. Or me having a long shower is not what I need right now. I need to be putting on the load of washing. Me doing the meditation is not necessary right now because I need to be emptying the dishwasher. I should be getting up early and I should be doing X on my computer because work needs me right now. Your self-care is actually a necessity. It's not a luxury. So you have to remember that your self-care to keep you mentally sane is a necessity. If you want to cope, you want to have good relationships, you want to have sound mental health, you want to be consistent in the foods that you eat, you want to exercise and move your body consistently, your self-care is the one thing, like mental thing, that is going to help keep you afloat and keep you consistent. Because let's be honest, when you're totally knackered, there's nothing left in the tank, you're not going to make good choices about food. You're not going to exercise. That's when the landslide kicks in. Okay, so we have to remember that we've got to make gradual progress. Creating habits takes time, okay? And if you've got heavily ingrained patterns of behavior that you've dealt with and you struggled with for a really long time, you can't expect that you're just going to come in and you're going to be a totally transformed person because I've signed up for this thing and then now that she's talking to me, I'm a different human. It's like, no, I wish it was that easy. I would be so rich, but it doesn't work like that. It takes time and it takes effort, and you have to implement what I'm teaching you. It's not just enough to listen to my infinite potentials and listen to me bang on in a group call and think, okay, yeah, I got it now. It's no, you have to go and cook the meals. You have to go and do the stress management practices. You have to go and do the exercise sessions. You have to create the routine and 50 times over and shuffle it around so that you can be consistent. That's what gets you the results. That's what teaches you how you can be consistent those 52 weeks of the year. So I want you to lower your expectations, start small, focus on repetition, doing the reps, and know that this will actually build up over a period of time. You'll just get better and better. Now, have you guys seen this before? The iceberg illusion. Like, how true is this? This is what on Instagram. You see this person and you're like, oh my God, she's living the dream. She's got a good body. She's got her shit together. She's got all her kids in line. Look how all her kids eat the same meals and everyone cooperates and nobody ever fights and she's got this perfect relationship with her partner. Life's good for her. And it's, what do you think has made her life good? All this stuff underneath. It's the persistence of doing it 52 weeks of the year, rocking up to those core non-negotiable habits. It's failing again and again, but just getting back on the wagon, being okay with that. It's having moments of disappointment where you're like, I had this expectation of myself and I didn't do it. I'm frustrated. Why didn't I do the work in that moment? That's okay. That's normal. It's the dedication. It's doing this stuff. Nutting out the plan and then executing the plan. It's having the discipline. I've got a little alarm clock there. Why do you think that is? Because I want you to get out of bed. You got to get out of bed. You got to get to bed. You've got to do the things when the task says on the calendar. You got to actually do the work when it says. And it's doing the hard work day in, day out. It's all the stuff underneath and all the stuff in the background that you guys are mastering now that makes you consistent 50 weeks of the year. All right. So let's look at this. This is your time axis. All right. And this one here is your progress. All right. So you've got your time down the bottom and you've got your progress. So I want you to write your diets down the bottom. What are the diets that you've tried or the approaches that you've tried in the past, which you realize now probably weren't that great? So for myself, oh God, there was a lot. Okay. Where do I start? I can't even remember the exact order, but there was definitely Herbalife. That was a fun one. There was isogenics. There was fasting. What else did I do? Oh, I took a heap of pills. I used to take fat blaster pills. That was a hoot. Worked out real hard for a while. What else would I try? Anything else, right? I want you to think when you started and you moved up this line, how did it work? This here is a lifestyle change, team. How did it start? It goes like this. It goes Herbalife. I actually lost 5 kilos on Herbalife. I really felt like a legend. But what did I do? I dropped real down and then I gave even more weight. So my progress was like that. Then isogenics, the same story, but I didn't try as hard, so I didn't lose as much weight. So it probably went like this, really. Fat blaster pills, well, that didn't really do anything. So it went like this. What was this one? Oh, fasting. Fasting actually didn't work too bad. Went like that. Fat blaster pills plateaued, right? Lifestyle change. You know what? 15 years, it's gone like this. That's the reality of it. But you've got to remember, it takes time and it's not linear. And you will have dips in the road where you're learning and then you reset and you get back on track and you have this peak and you think you've nailed it. And you're like, I'm all good now. Got it. Mastered it. And then turbulence hits. You drop again. You're disappointed in yourself. You feel like a fear of failure. And then you keep going. But there's little dips in the road. But every rep you put in, you get better and better. And so you've got to track your journey. What does your journey look like? And what do you want it to look like now moving forward? Now, I don't want you to draw a straight line because that's not how it's going to look. So I want you to be realistic in the fact that it is going to go up and down. And there are going to be changing, adjusting things that we're going to be dealing with. Now, the problem was that if I'd stayed here in this section here, if I'd stayed here doing these diets, my progress would have looked the same. I would have stayed down the bottom there because I wasn't learning anything from those things. I just kept going into it, doing exactly what the human said, following the rules, not being able to implement it for that long, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then collapsing again, right? But if you said, okay, like what did I learn from Herbalife? What did I learn from Herbalife? Let's look at this one here. And then what did I learn from isogenics? What did I learn from fasting? What did I learn from fat blaster pills? And then let's implement what I've learned there into how I'm trying to implement this lifestyle change. So I want you to write, what did you learn from each of those stages? What did I learn? Can't live off shakes. Oopsies, wrong one. Sorry. I learned that I can't live off shakes. That I hate taking pills before every single meal. Guys, I want you to do yours as well. What I hate about fasting. I'm starving. I'm really angry. What did I learn about fat blaster pills? There is no pill solution. So we want to get to a space where we can maintain consistency with our health and our self-care. We want to get to this space where we don't feel like we're falling off the track whenever life gets busy. And we want to stop feeling bad about ourselves when things aren't perfect. So how do we do that? First of all, what we have to do is we have to identify what are the patterns of behavior that we fall back into during those periods of time. We have to come up with solutions that we can implement now, which are going to help us move through them smoothly. Okay, so this is the season's challenges. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 minutes to go through and write down what happens when the kids are on school holidays, what happens to you when the kids are sick, what happens when you go to a social outing and you've got these unrealistic expectations, what happens when work is busy, or what happens when you're fatigued. What are the poor habits that you fall back into? What are the challenges that you face? So how can we combat these things? So what I want us to do on the next page is we're going to work out how we can combat these things, okay? So we have to consider, okay, in the school holidays, what are the core things that I need to keep in place so that my routine stays intact. Now, we're not going to have time to go through this whole document and each person's things are different, right? But what would be a good idea is to go, okay, I really struggle with these school holidays, or maybe it's social outing, or maybe I really struggle when the kid's sick or when I'm feeling fatigued. And so you go down each of those lines and you think, okay, what is it that I need to do proactively now when I'm in a good state of mind to deal and help myself get through that tough period? So for example, mine would be work is busy and fatigued. They would be my biggest challenges. And so if I'm having like long days for work, the first thing I think is, okay, if I'm having a long day, what do I need to do to combat that? I do not want to cook when I pick up my kids at 6 o'clock at night. So I'm either pulling from freezer stock or I need to have slow cook on. Otherwise, I'm going to end up doing like protein in a salad or something that doesn't require any energy. Let's be honest. It falls apart. So that's what long days, I need to do that. Can I put that in place now? Yes. How could I combat less family time? I know when I have long days and I have less family time, then what I want to do is I want to schedule more events with my kids on the weekend. I want to try and steal that time back. So I think, okay, like what's the work-life balance? Let's look at it over a fortnight. Where can I steal that time back elsewhere? And so I'll like plan nice treats or activities where I can spend quality time with my kids on the weekends. So plan quality time with the kids. Can you see how I'm working this out? Then if I'm stripped of time, what do I need to peel back? Whenever I'm stripped of time, I generally peel back on the housework. I'm not going to expect myself to do stuff like the floors or any of that kind of during the week. And I just say, okay, that can be tackled later. And I let that decline because my work is always going to take precedent over the cleaning of my house. It's just who I am as a human. And what else would I do if I'm stripped of time? I'm probably going to pull back on social events and I just want to lay low, allow myself to rest and recover a bit more on the weekend and not like jam packed with all these kids events and social stuff because I know I'm going to wear myself out, right? And I'll get back to Monday and I'll be exhausted. So I peel back the social events on the weekend and reduce the cleaning. Not that I'm a pig, guys, because I'm not, and I don't go to like bed with dishes in the sink or anything, but like you just pull it back, right? The next one is skipping meals. This for me, I'm not a huge meal skipper, but I think that's because I always have my food prepared. But I used to be a terrible person for skipping meals. But if I didn't have meals that I could literally grab out of the fridge and eat in a minute, I would skip meals. So I think it's only because I'm in the habit of being good with that stuff. But that comes down to having easy meals prepared in the fridge that I can nuke in the microwave in 1 minute. Because if it takes any longer than that, I'm probably not going to eat it because I want to get back to my desk and start eating again, right? That's just who I am. So it's easy meals that can be heated. Now, what I'd like to do, guys, is just give you 2 minutes to go through and work on one column yourself. And I wanted this to be a talking session. So if you're like, okay, Chelsea, I struggle with blah, what could I do to combat that? Chat to me in this 2 minutes so I can help you fill in your table, okay? It's not just you filling in the table and me sitting here. It's like you talking at me, or put it in the chat. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes on the clock. This is your opportunity to ask me questions about what you could change in your approach, or what systems you could set up, or how you could tackle it differently so you can be more consistent. But keep in mind, this is based on the core non-negotiable habits that you want to implement and keep afloat during this period of time. For mine, it's like some form of movement. It's having my meals prepared, and it's doing some stress management techniques.
Yeah, because I put down like the routine, like not happening in the school holidays. So
yeah,
I need to work out what parts of the routine to try and keep.
Yeah. So for me, so I'll just talk to you about what I do, and then you like pick snippets of what you want to bring in. We like wake up later, and then I'll always do an exercise session with the kids. So I go for a walk with them, or take them to the park, or take them to skate park, or something. Basically, just try and wear them out. And then we'll come back and then feed them lunch or whatever. Hope that they're going to have some like quiet time in the afternoon. And then at least I feel like I want about it. And then I don't feel so bad in the afternoon if I'm around the house and I'm doing stuff and then they're doing their thing. And then probably try and take them out short in the afternoon or something. But I find that seems to work for me. It breaks it up into blocks. It's like morning time, feeding them breakfast, get out of the house, do activity with them when we're out, bring them home, quiet time, and then they can have noisy time again in the afternoon. So I think just trying to block it. And even if you said, okay, we're out of the house by 9, or if that's too early for you, then say 9:30, whatever. I feel like school drop off at 8:30 is so late that every time I'm always like, oh, we could have done this 2 hours ago. Wake up so early. But I think that's the difference on like when kids wake up. Like 4:30 this morning, my little boy's in my bedroom. He's like, Mommy, can I build? I was like, mate, are you serious? Not right now. All my kids are super early risers, so whatever. So it's just like thinking like, how would you like to block your day, and what times would you like to put on it? And then if you force yourself to keep to that, then it's not these shambles where everybody's like laying around their pajamas at 2 o'clock, which each their own. But we don't do that as family. We don't lay around their pajamas at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, my son was
still
in his pajamas. My son was already still in pajamas today, just before school pickup.
So Katie's written, mine is work is busy and fatigued, which obviously support eating and no movement. To combat that, I'll ensure that I have meals and snacks prepped on the weekend, freeze stock. Yeah, But I think the main thing is whenever you do your snack prep, also always make sure it's at least 4 batches of snack prep. So you're not expected to do it again midweek if you're tired. And this is what I recommend everyone when they come into the program. But get into the habit in the beginning of the program, the first 2 weeks of the program, you want to do a heap of batch cooking and get 10 or 12 meals in the freezer minimum. And then the idea is that you do 1 batch cook a week. So you're always putting 4 or 5 meals in the freezer every week. And then if you have a night where you don't want to cook, you just come home from work, you don't cook. That's okay. But giving yourself that flexibility that you can do that is really important, because when you're fatigued, that's not in play. It instantly falls apart. You know what I mean? That's the problem. Has anyone got anything else about that?
I find that my adult children try and eat all my food prep.
Yeah.
It's so hard. So then they go, oh, I really love that. So I had a few days off last week, and they were just eating everything, like all my special meals. And then
You need to put little
in.
Post-its on it.
I know.
With words of telling them to
yeah.
disappear.
I have done that. I've used some choice words on there saying it's mums. I think they're scared now, but yes, I end up doing it in the fridge as well, because it'd be my lunch. And then I get up in the morning and go,
that's bad.
I've got to get something out of the freezer. Yeah. These are very healthy grown. They're 6.5 feet or whatever. They're very tall. They just want to eat everything. That would be hard.
Okay, Karina's is when the husband's out at a night work thing, and the routine is I don't know what put late night means. What does that mean, Karina? Nothing worse than trying to find the unmute button. Maybe she's trying to type. I'm not sure, but there's something going on here. But I think if you know it's a night where you're on your own and you know that it's normally a struggle, then if you can either make the meal earlier in the day and have it ready to go, so that all you have to do is heat it or it's sorted, or making it the day before or something like that, or putting on a slow cooker. Try and make it so not cooking in the depths of the evening. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was this slide here. You've probably all seen it and thought, what is that thing? So let's talk about this one. Okay. So before we talked about this state that we were in where we're here, we're going up and down. And we want to get to a point where we're progressively constantly moving up. But I've worked out from when I'm working with ladies, if they want to continually grow on a pretty straight line and improve in that direction from this point on, which is this lifestyle change thing here, from this point there, then what we want to do is we want to follow these steps here. So I'll put them in here for you. Okay. Now you notice, you may or you may not have noticed, but this is the order in which I teach you things in acceleration, because these are the things that derail women, and pretty much in the order too. The first thing is that when women come in, if they don't know how to manage their nutrition, so this is over time, right? This is a time thing here. Over time, what you need to do. And in order for you to make progress, there's certain habits that we have to focus on. The first point, which you have to master, is your time management. Because if you haven't got time to meal plan, to food prep, to fit in your exercise, to do your meditation, what you'll find is that you won't be consistent. Okay, so your time management, that's why that's the first thing that we work on. The next thing that we work on in that journey is around your nutrition, your knowledge, and your food planning. Because let's be honest, ladies, there's a lot of work that goes into our food before we actually eat it. You've got to think, okay, what am I going to eat? I need to do a meal plan. What are my family going to eat? What have I got in the fridge? What do I need to buy? Now I need to do the online shop. Let's get the shop into the house. Now I need to prepare the food. Now I need to eat the food. Eating the food is such a small portion. People don't think there's actually 9 steps that occur before you actually eat the food. And people just go to eat the food. Can you see how that falls apart? So your implementation, understanding what you're eating, how it feels your body, why you want to make good choices, working out where your balanced meals need to be so that you stay sane. Going, okay, every Friday night, I want to have the chocolate, or I want to have the glass of wine, or every Saturday, I want to go out for lunch with my family, and that's okay. Or every Sunday night, I love to do, I don't know, X, eat a nibbles platter with, I don't know, what's the things that you love to do, and what days do they happen? So you have to think of like, when do my treat meals need to be to keep me sane? That needs to be part of the plan as well. And then when you're consistent with implementing that plan, you're kind to yourself because you're not putting yourself down, you're not berating yourself, because you actually feel in control of your food. You continue to move up that cycle. Food is a big part of someone's self-esteem. It gives us energy, mental clarity, allows us to perform. We can actually execute on those tasks that we put into our calendar. Can you see how it's all linked? Then the next thing there, then we nail food. This is why we moved that to do food diaries in week 3, because it's such an important component that you're planning your balanced meals. You know how many pink meals you're having across the week, which is like those low carb meals. You're having high protein breakfast so that you're not getting those energy crashes all day long. That's why it's all structured like that. That's why we get you to color code it, because you can see the difference in your behavior and your output. As your food diary improves, you'll see that everything just like skyrockets. And I know the food diary is a painful experience, but I promise you, like, what you learn from it is invaluable, which is why I force you all to do it and make Shalini lovingly make you all do it. And it's not forever, right? I just need to burn it into your brain. I've got 12 weeks to burn it into your brain. So just give me the 2 weeks. The next thing is the stress management and the habituation. You need to manage your stress. You need to habituate these habits, which means what? Do them daily. Then you need to get your butt to bed on time, but out of bed on time. Why? Because then we actually have energy and we're kind to people. and we feel good about ourselves, and our internal dialogue is kind. And then finally, when all these things are in place, your active living and your exercise will just happen because you've got the time management, you've got the energy, you're feeling good, you're getting enough sleep. Now you can perform in a workout. But the problem is people try and bring active living down here. They try and implement it here. They think it's really important because they need to burn calories. So they try and put it too far forward on the plan. And they're not focusing on the things that actually move them up this level here. You have to nail your time management. You have to nail your nutrition. You have to become really good with your stress management. Then we're going to get you to sleeping adequately and getting enough sleep. And then I tell you what, you'll skyrocket in your workouts.
Thank you for joining me in this session on managing the seasons of health. And I really hope that you found these strategies valuable and you're feeling empowered to create a more flexible and sustainable approach to your health journey. Now, if you'd like to access more of my free trainings, just head over to inspiredmama.com. There you're going to find a huge amount of resources which are designed to help you reduce your stress, improve your time management, and create lasting health habits that can adapt with the changing demands of your family life. If you want to stay connected with daily tips and inspiration, please follow me on social media. On Instagram, you can find me at Chels_inspiredmama. On Facebook, you can find me at inspiredmama_Chels. And on YouTube, you can find me at Inspired Mama. If you're looking for free support to implement what you've learned today and beyond, I invite you to join our Inspired Mama support group on Facebook. It's a beautiful community where my team and I nurture and support busy women like you on your journey to a more balanced and fulfilled life. And remember, ladies, that our progress with our health isn't always linear, and that's totally okay. If you're able to start implementing these core habits that we've discussed today, you'll be able to watch how you can help maintain your health and well-being throughout all seasons of life, and particularly year-long. Thank you for your time and attention, and here's to all of us thriving in every season of health and living our most inspired life.